Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with a brand new brew review. Today is Monday, January 8th of 2024 and this will be the first brew review of 2024. Yeah, this will also be probably the last one that I'm gonna publish on a Monday, but I thought let's start with one of the Christmas beers that I had, and because of the shift in advent calendars I didn't get the chance to properly taste this, so I thought let's do this now in between, and the day after tomorrow probably we'll start with the regular regime of 2 a week. Yeah, what can I tell you guys about this beer? This beer is Maredsous. Maredsous is a Abbey in Belgium. Has been for a very long time. I will do a video about Maredsous in its own as well, but all we need to know right now is that it's currently owned, not the Abbey, the brand, is currently owned by Duvel Moortgat. They do some nice things with that. They have a blonde, they have a triple, they have a dark, but my surprise was quite large when I encountered this Maredsous Noël in the store not so long ago. I was very curious, so let's go over this. Now, I only found this in 75 centiliter bottles. I also believe that this is a limited edition. It is a 10% dark ale, Christmas ale. But first of all, let's go over this bottle. Okay, it says extra strong beer. Well, of course, it is 10% ABV. I think that that sentence is particularly for the export market because we are kind of used to this. Ingredients: water, barley malt, invert sugar solution, hops, spices, and yeast. And that's about it. Now, of course, a dark ale with some extra sugar, being lactose, maltose, or this inverted sugar solution, which is basically sugar water, so an addition to the wort. That is quite common. Spices, I'm a bit sad that they don't specify which ones, but I also understand because, yeah, company secret. And apart from that, this has the traditional Maredsous label. They have, I think, a yellow, a blue, and a red one. And they sort of recycled the red one for the Christmas theme. Now, one thing that I want to point out, or actually two things. First of all, this says Tradition Benedictine, Benedictine tradition. Benedictines are the larger order under which the Cisterciensers or the Cistercians fall as well. So the Cistercians are actually very, very strict Benedictines, meaning that the Trappist beers also fall under Benedictine tradition. That is just a side note. But right here in very, very, very tiny, they didn't go all bombastic and put it on the front label. No, they put it in very small logo on the back label. It says wood aged. Now, I have had the pleasure of talking to the brewer of this beer, or at least one of them, and he told me that this is aged with wood chips in casks. So I'm very curious. That is, of course, a modern technique, but a modern technique that actually facilitates and makes an old traditional, an old tradition easier. Now, I would also like to take the time to talk about glassware for a second, because you see this nice clay chalice here, and that is quite often, more often than not, how Maredsous is sold. You can buy bottles separately, but you can always buy some gift packs as well, just like with many big brands or even smaller brands, but they often include the clay chalice. This is rather heavy, also very pleasant. I like drinking out of these chalices, especially on like a Christmas market or a winter market are happening. However, we do miss one large part of tasting our beer, and that is the visual component. We can't see our beer because this is obviously not clear, and we have foam on top, so we don't see our beer either way. We also can't test the clarity or see whatever is in there, check out the color or enjoy the color. So I'm gonna put this aside for today. And of course, I have my glass chalice as well. As you can see, this is a nice, very traditional Abbey beer style chalice. Now, without further ado, because I have been talking for way too long, let's try this beer. Actually, I haven't opened one of these up yet, so I'm not sure whether there's a cork underneath there. But hey, let's see. That doesn't sound like a cork, and that was absolutely intentional. Okay. Let's hope that that foil doesn't interact with that cap. First off, absolutely beautiful color. Really fits the label and the bottle. Very nice, deep, dark, ruby reds, as is the case with many dark beers. But this is one of the most beautiful shades of red that I've seen in a beer. Quite lovely. Also, way more clear than I expected. So that's something different. Some, yeah, let's say beige, brownish beige foam. And one thing that stands out here is that it's quite dense foam. Oftentimes with these dark beers and these sweeter beers, Christmas beers for example, I expect a bit less foam and a bit more quickly dissipating foam. But this is way denser than I expected. So, and we like dense foam, so I can only applaud this. Now when it comes to fragrance, also surprising, because I read spices, I expected actual spiciness, but I do get, well, not surprising, I do get some brown sugar in there. But what I do find surprising is that I don't really can make out a lot of spices or herbs. I mainly get red berries, red fruits. Yeah, it's like malts, red fruits, forest fruits, and some sugar. So yeah, a bit of herbal component, but I can't really pinpoint what it is. So all that's left for us is to taste. Cheers, you guys. First beer of the year. Okay. I know that I like to say it right off the bat, but I've tasted like 4 things that I want to mention right off the bat. Let's start with the very first one. The very first sip, the very first moment, the instance that my tongue hits the fluid is relatively sweet, but not in an annoying way. So kudos. You guys know that I don't like too sweet beers. Secondly, the mouthfeel. It really rolls or creeps over the tongue. So it is relatively sticky, but again, within boundaries. And normally I don't really like stickiness. As you guys know, I don't like to chew beers, but this is like right underneath that limit. So again, nicely done. It has a very pleasant mouthfeel. It is very present. It is not too heavily carbonated, but also not too flat, not too still. Like that as well. By the way, mention how this foam is still there. But the fourth thing that I actually want to mention is right off the bat. Wow, I I think I discovered which spices they were talking about, because I think they used a lot of star anise in this beer and a lot of licorice, mainly licorice actually, a bit less star anise. But I think that this beer has some clove, this beer has some star anise, but this beer has a lot of licorice. Which is, by the way, boosted by that wood aging. So they added wood chips, and licorice, the traditional licorice, is actually also a kind of roots, kind of wood. Pretty nice if you ask me. But I think that this will be, yeah, somewhere between boring and annoying after a while. So I'm gonna share this with some friends later on, because I'm not gonna finish 75 on my own. I enjoy this glass occasionally, but the whole bottle. Bear in mind that that is everything I have to say after just the first sip, so bear with me here. Yeah, the level of carbonation in this beer is amazing. It's absolutely lovely. Also, after the licorice taste lies down, we get a very pleasant dark ale taste. Slightly sugary, but not too bad. A tiny bit roasty, but mainly woody, a bit astringent even. I do get a lot of tingling on the back of my tongue, on the weak tissue in my mouth. So absolutely lovely. Now, like I said, I did get a chance to talk with one of the brewers, and those guys really know what they're doing. Now, maybe interesting, but again, a sidetrack. Even though Maredsous is currently owned by Duvel Moortgat, and they used to brew it at Duvel Moortgat, this year, or the past year, 2023, they actually installed a brand new brewery inside the Abbey, and you can go visit that right now. So I am thinking about next time I'm gonna go climbing, then I am in the Ardennes as anyway, so maybe I'll just go visit it there, but we'll see. I am experiencing some other tastes as well. I think we also have some green herbs here, so something like thyme or rosemary, but I'm not really sure about that. But I must say that I didn't expect this, but I really enjoyed this beer. So maybe we should just go over to the verdict, the scoring. I think I'm gonna give this like a 3.5, 3.75, because it may very well not really be my style, but it is a very well brewed. It is a very nice beer. It is very tasty. It is maybe a bit too tasty at times, but I think this is an awesomely brewed beer, very well balanced, a lovely balance between the herbal flavors, the carbonation, and that wood aging. I think it might, for me, in my opinion, it could have been aged a bit longer or a bit more, but apart from that, yeah, absolutely lovely beer. And I actually would love to pair this beer with some game, like some deer or some rabbit maybe. I think this is a lovely beer to probably make a stew with, although I think that would be a shame of the beer. I'd make a stew with some cheap table beer, as we call it, some cheap strong dark beer, or maybe even light dark beer, and then serve this with the casserole. apart from that, yeah, let's end it here. You guys, thank you so much for watching again. As usual, if you like this video, let me know, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. If you want to spread the love, share a video somewhere, and if you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you will get notified whenever I upload something, which is to be determined along this week. Cheers, guys.